Hi and greetings, my dear students. I thought I'll greet you instead of monotonous hello and welcome, for a change of course. So today we are beginning with a new paper, that is literary theory. Since we have slightly got acquainted to each other as teacher and students, let's begin this paper, that is literary theory. Together we'll make this paper interesting. So, in this paper literary theory, I'll be dealing with module 1, and module 1 is liberal humanism versus theory. And under this topic of liberal humanism versus theory, there are two sections. Let's see what those sections are. The first one is liberal humanism, dominant aspects of liberal humanism with examples. And the second one, literary theory, dominant aspects of literary theory with examples. There is linguistic turn, critical turn and paradigm shift. So, we will go into details one by one as we progress into our classes. So, welcome again. Don't be worried or dejected seeing these unfamiliar topics. We will be gradually going into these topics, but it will take time, of course, and I'm sure that we will cross that bridge too. So, beginning with literary theory, since the paper is literary theory, you should know what literary theory is basically. We will split that into literature and theory. What is literature? Literature is written works, especially those written works of artistic merit. And what is theory? Theory is a set of principles. These set of principles is to justify a course of action. Let's define literary theory in a very simple manner. So, literary theory is a systematic study of the nature of literature and the methods for literary analysis. Nature of literature, the type of literature, the kind of literature, and methods for literary analysis, different ways of literary analysis. Analysis is a deep study or examining something in depth, analysis or studying something in depth. So, that is analysis. In brief, we can say that literary theory is a way of interpreting literature. Interpreting literature? What is the word meaning of interpretation or interpreting? Interpreting in Malayalam is വ്യാഖ്യാനം. നമ്മളൊരു കാര്യം വ്യാഖ്യാനിക്കുക. അതായത് the way something is explained or understood, how you understand things, that is interpreting, rather interpretation. So, we can say that literary theory is a way of interpreting literature. Literature is written text. Now, this literary theory roots as far back as Aristotle. Why does literary theory matter? Why does it matter so much? It matters mainly for three elements. First one, for cultural literacy, that is, we should be culturally taught or we should be culturally literate. We should have a culture of our own, and that should be a supreme culture, and that's why literary theory matters. First one, for cultural literacy. Second one, to understand our perspective. Perspective, we have discussed before, is your point of view. For anything or any topic or any issue, you should have your point of view. So, the second one is to understand our perspective. Third one, Literary theory connects to other schools of thought. What is a school of thought? Is it a school which you studied from your primary classes to your 10th or plus 2? No, not that. What is schools of thought? Schools of thought is a group of people bonded together by shared principles. That is, a school is a kind of thought or kind of ideology, and there are many people who follow it. That is school of thought. Group of people bonded together by shared principles is school of thought, and there are different schools of thought or different schools, different theories. So that is it. Third one is connects to other schools of thought, and that's why literary theory matter. Consequently, the word theory became an umbrella term for scholarly approaches to reading texts. You're not just plainly reading text, you're having a scholarly approach. The approach of an academic, somebody who is learned. So with that point of view, you read texts or you analyze texts. What is literary theory? Literary theory is the ideas and methods we use to interpret and analyze literature from a variety of perspectives. It opens up the possibilities of what literature can mean to the reader. It is a toolbox for explaining and interpreting literary texts. Toolbox in the tools nammale sahayikkuna saadhangalana. So, which means that literary theory is a toolbox. Nammale sahayikkунന്നതാണ് എന്തിന് literary text explain ചെയ്യാനും interpret ചെയ്യാനും. Literary theory is a particular way of reading and viewing texts, written texts. That is, looking at a text from a particular point of view or read a text from different perspectives. That is, you can have either a certain point of view, just one, or you can have different points of view. So that is the kind of reading texts. Now, there are literary theorists who practice this literary theory. What do they do? Well, literary theorists analyze the texts. They offer different interpretations of the social and cultural ideas, values, experiences, and individuals that are shown in the text. These are literary schools of thought. That is, schools of literary theory. We'll begin in a clockwise manner, beginning with reader response theory, new criticism, cultural studies, structuralism and post-structuralism, Marxism, gender criticism, post-colonial criticism. These are just some of the theories. You have many other theories also which you should know and which you should study. But we will be dealing with that later on. This is just for you to get familiarized with some of the literary theories. Alright, what is the difference between literary theory and literary criticism? See, I'll make it simple for you. Literary theory is abstract and literary criticism is concrete. Literary theory is abstract, meaning that abstract means that which does not have a physical existence. It only exists as an idea or a concept. But literary criticism is concrete. It do exist. Let's see how. this difference is substantiated. See, literary theory deals with ways to distinguish literary texts from each other and establish schools of thought, that is, classifications or categories, which is visible in literary texts. Whereas literary criticism is interpretation and analysis of literary works. So, literary theory denotes the abstract, that is, it can be an idea or a set of rules, but literary criticism denotes an action. Since literary theory classifies and it distinguishes different literary texts from one another, it is abstract. But literary criticism, you are interpreting and analyzing literary works. It involves an action, it is concrete, it is existing. Literary criticism is usually in the form of a critical essay or book reviews. And literary criticism examines a particular literary work. Since our first major topic is liberal humanism, let's just have a glimpse of this section. So, liberal humanism, when I split that into two, liberal and humanism. Liberal is freedom, you are liberated, you are free, that is liberal. Humanism, anything pertaining to human beings, humanity or man in totality. So, liberal humanism, a free man. I can just say that as a rough meaning. But it is not just that. Liberal humanism is a modern literary theory. Every literary theory is interrelated with other theories. That you should know. Most of them are interdisciplinary, correlated. So, it derives its principles from other theories. It shares. Then, based on the nature of man and its defects on the society, liberal humanism is formulated. So, you have to note the point that liberal humanism is based on the nature of man and this defects in the society. The specialty of liberal humanism is that it focuses on literature and the study of man. So, the two focal points of liberal humanism is that one is literature and the second one is study of man. We can define liberal humanism as philosophical and literary movement in which man and his capabilities is the central concern. So, mainly we deal with man and his capabilities in liberal humanism, and there are philosophical concerns and literary concerns too. It is also defined as a system of historically changing views that recognizes human being as an individual and his right to liberty and happiness. Recognizes human beings as an individual. His individuality is recognized. Human beings' individuality is recognized in liberal humanism, and his right to liberty and happiness is also recognized. Human beings should not be put in fetters. He should be left free. He should be liberated. So, all these are recognized. These points, these elements are recognized in liberal humanism. To talk about the pioneers of this critical theory, that is liberal humanism, it dates back to 1840, the year 1840, with F.D. Morris, a theorist, F.D. Morris, followed by I.A. Richards, then F.R. Lewis and Q.D. Rock. We will go into the details in our next class. So here we come to the end of this video on literary theory. We'll meet soon in our next class. Thank you.